All right, so this is a super informal video that I just felt like doing, discussing the recent Generation 10 console rumors. Um, I don't even really have a much of a script other than notes. It's just going to be kind of me talking about it and giving my thoughts. So let's start then. So first, I want to talk about what's been confirmed so far. So that is things said by AMD, Microsoft, Sony, or anyone else who's trustworthy, which I don't think there is anyone other than those three. So, okay. So, AMD said that the next box has backwards compatibility and you are able to use any storefront on it. And then AMD and Sony said that the PS6 and the next RDNA, whether that's named RDNA 5 or UDNA, doesn't really matter, has, quote, Radiance cores, which are right now simply a rebrand of their array accelerators. Neural arrays, it's not super clear what this is. I personally think it's somehow related to co-op vectors, but could be totally wrong on this. More information is needed. And universal compression, which of course sounds great, but there's one small catch. So AMD, when they released RDNA 3.5, uh, definitely bragged about the improved compression that they were able to get over RDNA 3. That's fine. Then, when RDNA 4 came out, they were also boasting about improved compression. However, they did not specify if this improved compression was compared to RDNA 3 or RDNA 3.5. They just said it's better. Okay, and now, once again, AMD is saying that the next RDNA is going to have improved compression, and once again, not specifying what it's compared to. So this could mean all sorts of things. I mean, the simplest way to think about it is that RDNA 3.5's got better compression than 3, and 4's got better than 3.5, and 5 is going to be better than 4. But there's no guarantee this is what it really is. It could be that all three of them share the exact same compression improvements compared to RDNA 3. Again, we don't know because AMD has not been specific on this as far as I'm aware. So, second, let's take a look at the current leaks, which is what I have on screen. You can see that these are the leaks from Moore's Law is Dead and Kepler L2. Now, uh, these, in my opinion, are the most important things that are currently out there that you can take from this. So I'm going to go over that. I have a lot of issues with this, and it makes me incredibly skeptical of what's been presented. So, issue number one, by far the biggest issue, there is no solid evidence any of this is real. Like, none at all. No offense to Moore's Law is Dead or Kepler L2. I'm sure that they have reasons for not providing good proof, but ultimately, they don't have hard evidence for this. It's just he said, she said, and they corroborated with each other somewhat. So who knows what if this is true at all. Issue 2. Xbox Magnus has a questionable memory configuration. First off, Moore's Law is Dead and Kepler L2 don't agree on the capacity. You can see that Moore's Law is Dead thinks it's 48 gigabytes, and Kepler says most likely 36 gigabytes. So you have Kepler saying that both of these leaks are accurate, but then he immediately contradicts himself saying that there's 36 gigabytes on Magnus. So which is it? Secondly, 48 gigabytes on a 192-bit bus it gives you 6 chips, and that requires each chip to be 8 gigabytes in size. The problem is right now the biggest and highest density GDDR7 chips you can get are 3 gigabytes. Now, these consoles are slated to launch sometime in 2027, which could be the end of the year 2027, basically 2028. And there is time for GDDR7 manufacturing to improve. However, I've looked at the roadmaps and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get like super dense 8 GB modules. So I'm not sure how they're getting up to 48 gigabytes. The other option, though, would be 4 GB modules, which I do think are possible, though they would be pretty top shelf, stuff at, even in 2027 or 2028. And then you do the clamshell design where you have VRAM on both sides of the GPU. I believe the 5090 does this. What is it? Hold on. 512 over 32 is 16. No, it does not. There are some GPUs that do the clamshell memory, which gives you more capacity but makes it expensive. So that just seems a little unrealistic for a console to me. And the fact that these guys can't even agree with each other, I don't know about the memory configuration. Uh, Third, Magnus memory bandwidth seems insufficient in my opinion. So you can see Moore's Law is Dead does not list a specific memory bandwidth here, other than 192-bit bus. So to make a conservative estimate, I took the 28 gigabits per second bandwidth that is used in the Blackwell GPU, sorry, and do the math on that, and it comes out to 672 gigabytes a second. Now, for comparison, the 9070 XT is a 64 CU part that uses 640 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, a 8 megabyte level 2, and a 64 megabyte level 3 cache. So now we're saying that we're going to increase bandwidth by 5%, and we will have more L2, but we're going to have a lot less L3. And somehow this is not going to be a problem with even more compute units on an even faster architecture. To me, that just screams you're going to be bandwidth bound. So that doesn't really fly for me. I would expect not necessarily a super wide bus like they did with the 1X or even the Series X, but I was thinking 256-bit would be much more realistic. 192 is low. Like 192 is ideal for a high-end handheld, not a dedicated home console. Now you will notice that if you look down here at the PS6, that Moore's Law that does have the speed listed at 32 gigabits per second. And I think that if you're going to get that speed of memory for the PS6, you might go, well, it's reasonable to assume that the Magnus could have that too. And I agree. If you plug the numbers in, you get 768 gigabytes per second, which does work, in my opinion, as sufficient enough memory bandwidth. I personally was hoping for at least 800, but 768 is close enough, in my opinion. So maybe that works out, but when he doesn't list the speed specifically for the Xbox, I am just going to take a conservative estimate and go with the 28 gigabits. All right, issue 4. So the NPU listed here has 2 power profiles. This doesn't make sense for a home console. It's 110 tops at 6 watts or 46 at 1.2. Why would you ever, save 4.8 watts for cutting your performance by more than half? Like, you would just always use the faster mode. So I'm not sure why there need to be 2 power profiles for that. Let's see, issue 5. So absolutely no info on new features and roadmap. So the DirectX roadmap is almost always spearheaded by Xbox consoles. Or if it's not spearheaded, there's still a major pushing force. Like the Series X was not technically the first DX12 Ultimate device, but it was, sorry. sorry, my head shut off, but it was not the first DirectX 12 Ultimate device, but it was one of the major pushing forces for DirectX 12 Ultimate. So the fact that they don't have any information on what new features are going to be included, including the Radiant scores, have nothing for DXR 1.2, which we already know about as a thing, and I personally fully expect to be part of the next 13.0 or whatever they call it feature level. Seems very strange. Now, to be completely fair with this one, oftentimes Microsoft will be the first one to announce it, and then all of the IHVs will come and say, oh, here's our driver for it, or here's our blog post on implementing it, or, we expect to have this in our, future architecture, or we already have it in the current one, whatever, it doesn't matter. They'll essentially come out in unison with announcing this feature. So it is strange that they don't have any information on the future DirectX roadmap, but to be completely fair, maybe it's just not available. All right, so that about wraps this up. Again, what I have to say is that we should just don't believe everything you read. I'm not dissing Moore's Law is dead or Kepler L2. I'm sure they're very nice people. Um, I I don't hate them. Uh, all I'm saying is that ultimately they don't have any solid proof right now, and that you shouldn't get worked up over anything that's been posted. It could be completely untrue. We don't know. So if you want to discuss this further, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and/or hit me up on Twitter X. I have my DMs open, and I'm totally willing to talk with people regardless of your knowledge level, so don't be afraid. The only thing I ask is don't be a spamming dickhead or someone who just rages in console warring. If you do that, I'm going to ignore you. So, yeah, I guess that's it. So, catch you all later.